In the silent heart of every spinning galaxy, in the orbital dance of every planet, in the crystalline architecture of a snowflake, and in the double helix of your own DNA lies a hidden language, a sacred code, a master plan that whispers the story of creation to those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. This language is not made of words, but of forms, proportions, and vibrations. It is the language of sacred geometry. Today, soul traveler, you who seek to understand the patterns that weave reality, we embark on a journey into the depths of this arcane knowledge, not as a mathematics lesson, but as an initiation into the art of creation itself. Sacred geometry is revealed to us not as an abstract discipline, but as the interface between the visible and the invisible, between consciousness and matter, between spirit and form. It is the study of the archetypal patterns that give rise to everything that exists in the material world. Through a synthesis of perspectives that unite ancient wisdom with cutting-edge science, we will unveil the profound truth that the universe is not a random collection of objects, but a geometric symphony of energy and consciousness. The central thesis of our exploration posits that sacred geometric forms, such as the flower of life and the Platonic Solids, along with fundamental proportions like the golden ratio, are not mere symbols. They are the living templates, the energetic matrices upon which all of reality manifests. To understand this geometric language is, therefore, to understand the mechanics of creation and our fundamental role within it. This narration does not just seek to inform you, it seeks to transform your perception, moving you from a passive observer of the universe to a conscious and empowered participant in the cosmic dance of creation. Join me in deciphering the master plan.
The narrative of creation, as articulated in numerous esoteric traditions, does not begin with a chaotic and meaningless explosion, but with an act of geometric consciousness, a sequential, orderly, and perfect unfolding that forms the basis of all material existence. The origin of all manifestation is found in the void. Do not imagine it as an empty nothingness, but as a state of pure, unmanifested potential, an infinite stillness that holds within it the promise of all possible universes. From this void, spirit, the unified consciousness, projects a single point of attention, an act of primordial self-awareness. In an expansive movement of love, this point expands uniformly in all directions, creating the first and most perfect form in existence, the sphere. This initial sphere represents unity, totality, and the undifferentiated potential of all that is. The next movement of spirit is an act of exploration. It moves from the center of this original sphere to any point on its surface, and from there projects a second identical sphere. The intersection of these two spheres creates one of the most fundamental and potent figures in sacred geometry, the Vesica Piscis, the vessel of the fish. This almond-shaped form is the symbolic womb of creation, the portal through which light and form emerge into manifestation. It contains within it the square roots of 2, 3, and 5, and the fundamental proportions that give rise to geometry, music, and light. It is the first act of duality born from unity. From the Vesica Piscis, the process of creation continues in a precise geometric progression that mirrors the pattern of cell division. The spirit moves to the perimeter of the new sphere, to the points of intersection, and projects another sphere, and so on. This process, repeated 6 times, generates a pattern of 7 overlapping circles known as the seed of life. This pattern of 7 circles, representing the 7 days of creation mentioned in Genesis, is the embryo of the entire geometric structure of the universe.
Continuing with this sacred dance, more complex patterns are formed. The egg of life emerges as a 3-dimensional structure of 8 spheres, which is the morphogenetic form that underlies the human embryo in its first hours of development. By further expanding the pattern, the fruit of life is generated, composed of 13 circles. This figure is of utmost importance, as connecting the centers of each of the 13 circles with straight lines reveals the underlying structure known as Metatron's cube, which in turn contains all the Platonic solids, the building blocks of matter. Finally, the complete expansion of this pattern results in the flower of life, an interconnected network of circles that is considered the hologram of universal consciousness. The flower of life is not merely an aesthetic symbol. It is described as the primary geometric generator of all physical form. It is held that this single pattern contains within its proportions every aspect of life, every mathematical formula, every law of physics, every musical harmony, and every form of biological life, from the macrocosm to the microcosm. This pattern is found engraved on ancient artifacts and in sacred architecture around the world, from the Temple of Osiris in Abydos, Egypt, to the Forbidden City in China, suggesting a universal knowledge base in ancient civilizations.
The flower of life serves as a model of unity in diversity, illustrating the interconnectedness of all life and spirit within the universe. It is the visual language of creation itself, a reminder that all reality emanates from a single source and is intrinsically interconnected through an elegant geometric matrix. Understanding this sequence is not just an intellectual exercise. It is an act of remembering the process through which spirit manifests as form, a process that is encoded in our own cells and in the fabric of the cosmos.
If the flower of life is the holographic master plan of creation, the Platonic solids are the fundamental bricks that emerge from that plan to build the material universe. These 5 unique three-dimensional shapes are the manifestation of numerical and geometric principles in space, and they represent the archetypal patterns that underlie all matter. The Platonic solids are the only 5 convex polyhedra in which all faces are congruent regular polygons, and the same number of faces meet at each vertex. These perfect forms are the tetrahedron, the cube, the octahedron, the icosahedron, and the dodecahedron. Esoteric teachings detail the specific correspondence between each solid and the elements that constitute the physical and etheric world. This correspondence is not merely symbolic, but refers to the vibrational qualities and energetic functions that each geometric form embodies. The tetrahedron, composed of 4 triangular faces with its pointed and stable shape, represents the element of fire. It symbolizes manifestation, will, power, and the radiant energy that initiates creation. The cube or hexahedron, with its 6 square faces, is the most stable and grounded form, representing the element of earth. It symbolizes solidity, structure, materialization on the physical plane, and connection to the tangible world. The octahedron, formed by 8 triangular faces joined at their bases, is a shape that can spin freely, representing the element of air. It symbolizes the intellect, the mind, communication, and the balance between opposing forces. The icosahedron, with its 20 triangular faces, is the shape closest to a sphere, representing the element of water. It symbolizes flow, emotion, intuition, and adaptability. Finally, the dodecahedron, with its 12 pentagonal faces and association with the golden ratio, represents the 5th element, ether, prana, or spirit. It is the pattern that contains all the others and is considered the template of life force itself, the consciousness that permeates the entire universe. The interconnection of these fundamental forms is most elegantly demonstrated through Metatron's cube.
This sacred figure is derived from the fruit of life pattern. By drawing straight lines from the center of each of the 13 circles of the fruit of life to the centers of all the others, a complex network of lines is generated that contains all 5 forms of the Platonic solids. This fact reveals a nested hierarchy and a profound unity in the structure of creation. They are not 5 separate forms, but 5 aspects of a single underlying geometric matrix. Metatron's cube acts as a bridge between the 2-dimensional unity of the flower of life and the 3-dimensional diversity of the material world. It represents the flow of creative energy from the infinite source to the finite form, demonstrating that the entire physical universe is a coherent and geometric emanation of a single template of consciousness. The universe is not a silent structure, it is a vibrant symphony. Sacred geometry, as the structure of the cosmos, is intrinsically linked to sound and frequency. Cutting-edge research reveals that form and vibration are not 2 separate concepts, but 2 manifestations of the same underlying principle. Geometry is frozen music. Certain explorations have demonstrated a direct and surprising mathematical relationship between geometric forms and musical harmonies. The central discovery is that the sum of the internal angles of basic geometric shapes, triangle, square, pentagon, etc., when interpreted as a frequency in hertz, produces notes that form perfect harmonic musical chords. For example, the sum of the angles of a triangle, 180 degrees, a square, 360 degrees, a pentagon, 540 degrees, and a hexagon, 720 degrees, when played as frequencies, create a perfect harmony. This research stumbles upon the number 432, a figure that resonates deeply in esoteric teachings. The frequency of 432 Hz, which is obtained by dividing the sum of the pentagon's angles, 540, by an approximation of the golden ratio, was historically a standard tuning for music. The importance of the number 432 and its multiples is found in numerous ancient traditions and cosmic cycles. For example, the Hindu Kali Yuga has a duration of 432,000 years, and the diameter of the Sun is approximately 864,000 miles, 2 times 432,000. This suggests that the 432 Hz tuning is more aligned with natural rhythms and cosmic cycles. This direct link between form and frequency establishes resonance as a fundamental principle of creation. Esoteric teachings delve deeper into this idea, explaining that geometric forms are frozen qualities or stable energy patterns that, by their very nature, emit a specific vibrational signature. Just as a guitar string vibrates and produces a sound, a geometric form vibrates in a subtle energy field. When this vibration comes into contact with a biological system, such as the human body, a resonance effect can occur. If the frequency of the form is harmonic to the biological system, it can restore balance. If it is dissonant, it can create stress. This principle is the basis of vibrational sciences and demonstrates that geometry is not an abstract concept, but a powerful tool for influencing the vibrational state of matter, energy, and consciousness. But sacred geometry is not limited to the forms we see in the outer world. Its true power, its deepest mystery, lies in its role as the very structure of consciousness, the invisible scaffolding upon which information and the human body itself are built, demonstrating the inseparability of the inner and outer worlds.
At the heart of a unified understanding of science and spirituality is the concept of a universal energy field that connects all things. Certain research currents articulate this concept as the divine matrix, a model that not only describes the nature of the universe, but also redefines our role within it. It is posited that the divine matrix is the energy network that constitutes the fabric of the universe. Based on the theories of the father of quantum physics, who proposed the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind as the matrix of all matter, this field is described through three interconnected primary functions. First, the matrix is revealed to us as the universal container, the space that houses the entire universe. It is not a void in which things happen, but the very substance of which everything is made and within which everything exists. Second, the matrix acts as a bridge, an invisible network that intrinsically connects every point in the universe with all others non-locally, without being limited by time or space. Finally, and this is the most crucial aspect, the matrix serves as a mirror, reflecting in the outer world the beliefs, feelings, and emotions we hold within. Our external reality is a direct manifestation of our internal consciousness. This model is supported by a series of quantum physics experiments. For example, it has been shown that human DNA can directly influence photons, particles of light, organizing them into ordered patterns. Surprisingly, this effect persists even after the physical DNA is removed, a phenomenon known as the phantom DNA effect. This suggests that an energy field retains the imprint of the DNA. To interact with this matrix, there are keys that act as an instruction manual for conscious creation.
These keys distill ancient principles and modern discoveries into a practical guide. The fundamental principles are the holographic interconnectedness of the universe, the fact that consciousness itself is an act of creation, and that the language the matrix recognizes is feeling. To create a new reality, it is not enough to think about it. We must feel as if it has already happened. The matrix reflects our deepest beliefs, and our most intimate relationships act as mirrors of what we truly believe about ourselves. It is even postulated that a minimum number of people is needed to initiate a change in collective consciousness, calculated as the square root of 1% of a population, demonstrating how individual efforts can have a global impact. Parallel to the divine matrix, there is the ancient esoteric teaching of the Akashic records. This concept posits the existence of a cosmic library or a vibrational database that contains the record of every soul and its journey through all its lives. The term Akasha is a Sanskrit word meaning ether. The Akashic records are the memory of this universal ether, a compendium of every thought, word, and emotion. It is not a physical place, but a plane of consciousness where all information is encoded in light. This idea has found a surprising parallel in modern physics. There are scientists who propose that the zero-point field of the quantum vacuum is the scientific equivalent of the mystical records. This field not only preserves information, but also transmits it, explaining phenomena of non-local coherence. Esoteric teachings provide a cosmological map for this concept, placing the Akashic records in the 8th dimension of reality. In this model, dimensions are different levels of perception. The 8th dimension is that of eternity. From this perspective, one can contemplate every possible expression of creation. All possible timelines and realities are simultaneously accessible.
If the Akashic records are a universal database, how is it accessed? The teaching suggests that access is not an act of going somewhere, but of tuning one's own consciousness to the vibrational frequency of this field. Some individuals describe their ability as a process of remembering, claiming to have access to memories of past lives and cosmic history since childhood. It is emphasized that emotion is the vehicle for accessing this information. Other methods include meditation, sacred prayer, regressive hypnosis, and channeling. In essence, the Akashic field represents the intelligence of the universe. It is the software that runs on the hardware of the divine matrix. Accessing it is connecting with the universal mind and understanding the deeper purpose behind life's experiences. The ancient Hermetic principle, as above, so below, as within, so without, finds its most concrete validation in certain research that demonstrates a precise scientific correspondence between the entirety of ancient Vedic literature and the structure and function of human physiology.
Under the guidance of great masters, the monumental task of mapping the 40 branches of the Veda to the 40 main areas of human physiology has been undertaken. The fundamental discovery is that the same laws of nature that structure the universe, as described in the Vedic texts, are the same laws that build the human mind and body. The Veda, in this understanding, is not simply a collection of texts, but the master plan of creation. The human body, therefore, is not a random biological machine, but a perfect replica of the intelligence of nature, a material embodiment of the Veda. At the heart of this revelation lies a fundamental truth. The physical is a mirror of the non-physical. Physiology is the expression of consciousness. Matter is the manifestation of intelligence. The structure of DNA at its core, for example, has the same structure and function as the holistic reality expressed in the Rig Veda. Perhaps the most surprising example is the mapping of the planets of Vedic astrology to the key structures of the brain. The sun corresponds to the thalamus, the moon to the hypothalamus, and so on, providing a tangible physiological basis for the ancient science of astrology. This discovery is profound. It suggests that the human body is the ultimate instrument for knowing the universe. By turning attention inward through practices like meditation, one not only experiences expanded states of consciousness, but also enlivens the inherent intelligence encoded in one's own physiology, aligning the individual with the laws of nature that govern the cosmos. Having explored the alphabet of creation, we now ground these abstract principles in a historical and mythological context, exploring how this knowledge was supposedly used by advanced ancient civilizations and encoded as a warning of cosmic cycles. In the annals of esoteric history, two primordial civilizations stand as archetypes: Lemuria and Atlantis. Their stories are not mere legends, but crucial narratives that describe two divergent paths in the use of sacred knowledge, culminating in a cataclysm that serves as a perpetual warning. Lemuria, or Mu, in the Pacific Ocean, is described as a fundamentally spiritual civilization. Its purpose, established by an advanced race some 200,000 years ago, was to raise the planet's vibration. Lemurian society was characterized by harmony and cooperation, and a deep connection with nature. A central concept was the group mind, a state of collective consciousness. Their technology was an extension of their spirituality, a soft technology based on the mastery of subtle energies, crystal energy, resonance technology, coded water, sacred geometry, and planetary energy grids. Lemuria represents the path of the heart. Atlantis, though it initially shared knowledge with Lemuria, followed a different path. They became increasingly oriented toward the power and control of matter through technology. Hypnosis regressions reveal an Atlantean society with an astonishingly advanced crystal technology for energy generation, construction, and healing.
However, this focus on technological power led to a philosophical divergence. The Atlanteans began to conduct genetic experiments and develop weapons, ignoring the warnings of the Lemurians. The tension between these two philosophies culminated in a catastrophic conflict. Esoteric narratives speak of a war of great proportions that contributed to the destruction of both civilizations. This event was not only a geological catastrophe, but also a fall in consciousness. The story of Lemuria and Atlantis serves as a powerful allegory for humanity's current crossroads, representing the eternal choice between power and wisdom, between the control of the mind and the guidance of the heart. Their legacy, scattered by the survivors, is a call to reintegrate these two paths. The history of the Earth, as presented by certain research, is not a linear progression, but a series of dramatic cycles marked by cosmic catastrophes. It is argued that ancient civilizations were not only aware of these cycles, but encoded their knowledge of them in their myths and sacred architecture. This research merges geology with mythology to demonstrate that ancient myths of floods and fires are not fictions, but eyewitness accounts of real geological events. Geological evidence points to megafloods at the end of the last ice age, likely caused by a comet impact. These events were powerful enough to almost completely wipe out pre-existing civilizations. At the heart of this thesis lies the idea that these catastrophes are linked to predictable cosmic cycles, primarily the cycle of the precession of the equinoxes, or the Great Year, which lasts approximately 25,920 years. This master number and its harmonics appear time and again in ancient traditions. For example, a Platonic month, which corresponds to one of the 12 zodiacal ages of this great cycle, lasts 2,160 years, a number that is also, astonishingly, the diameter of the moon in miles. The number 72, the years it takes for the precession to move 1 degree, is a sacred number in countless cultures. And the number 432, fundamental in harmonic musical tuning, is also the duration of the Hindu Kali Yuga in thousands of years, 432,000. The most convincing proof of this lost knowledge is found in the Great Pyramid of Giza. Far from being a simple tomb, the pyramid is a scale model of the Earth. Its height, multiplied by 43,200, is equal to the Earth's polar radius with astonishing accuracy, linking this structure to one of the key numbers of the precessional cycle. The presence of this numerical system in myths and monuments around the world suggests an advanced global science in antiquity. Structures like the Great Pyramid can be seen as stone libraries designed to survive cataclysms and transmit this vital knowledge. Where did this advanced knowledge come from? Esoteric narratives offer a bold answer. It was brought to Earth by intelligences from other worlds. Certain works are presented as revealed key books, coded texts delivered by beings of higher intelligence. These texts do not communicate through linear language, but through living flame geometries of color and sound, multidimensional thought forms that seed the divine mind directly into our being. The universal medium of communication is the language of light, a language of vibration and form, a pluridimensional hologram that allows higher intelligences to communicate across different realities.
Other teachings complement this narrative, providing a historical context. Advanced civilizations from star systems like the Pleiades, Sirius, and Arcturus came to Earth eons ago. These beings acted as seeders, establishing colonies in Atlantis and Mu. They brought with them their advanced knowledge of physics and consciousness based on sacred geometry, and founded the ancient mystery schools to preserve this knowledge through the cycles of cataclysm. This perspective offers an origin for the knowledge encoded in stone. It was not developed by primitive humans, but was a legacy from our stellar ancestors. Having explored the alphabet of creation, we now ground these abstract principles in a historical and mythological context, exploring how this knowledge was supposedly used by advanced ancient civilizations and encoded as a warning of cosmic cycles. In the nexus of ancient science and modern research lies biogeometry, a discipline that offers practical methods to interact with and harmonize the subtle energies that shape our health and our environment. It is the application of the physics of quality. While conventional physics focuses on the quantitative aspects of energy, the physics of quality deals with the qualitative effects on living systems. It is based on the principle that shapes, angles, and colors generate specific energetic qualities that can be beneficial or detrimental. This science uses physical radiesthesia to detect and differentiate these energetic qualities. The fundamental discovery of this discipline was the identification of a highly balancing energetic quality called BG3. This energetic signature is composed of 3 specific vibrational qualities that are found simultaneously in the sacred power spots of the world. The simultaneous presence of these 3 energies, BG3, has a profound harmonizing effect on biological systems, strengthening the immune system and neutralizing the effects of environmental stress.
Biogeometry is not only a science of detection, but also of creation. By creating specific geometric shapes, it is possible to generate the BG3 energetic quality. It has been used to harmonize the harmful effects of electromagnetic fields in documented projects in Switzerland, eliminating the symptoms of electrosensitivity in the local population. Biosignatures are also used, linear diagrams designed to resonate with the energy patterns of specific organs. When placed in the body's energy field, they resonate with the function of the corresponding organ, correcting any imbalance. Biogeometry demonstrates that sacred forms are not mere symbols, but functional instruments for restoring harmony. Beyond the harmonization of the environment, sacred geometry offers an internal technology for the evolution of consciousness, the Merkaba. It is the geometric energy field of light that surrounds the human body, a chariot of ascension that, when activated, can transport consciousness to higher dimensions. The word Merkaba is an ancient Egyptian term. Mer, light, Ka, spirit, and Ba, body. It refers to a counter-rotating field of light that simultaneously affects the spirit and the body. Geometrically, it is composed of two interlaced star tetrahedrons, one pointing up, masculine, sun, and one pointing down, feminine, earth. This form represents the perfect balance of energies. A precise 17-breath meditation is taught to activate the Merkaba. This complex practice combines breathing, visualization, and mudras to cleanse the body's electric circuits, balance polarities, and set in motion the counter-rotating fields of the Merkaba. The absolute key for the Merkaba to function as a living light field is unconditional love. Without love, the Merkaba is simply a machine. Only when activated from the sacred space of the heart does it become a vehicle for ascension. Once activated, it allows the individual to experience expanded consciousness and connect with their higher self. It is the reactivation of the light body that is our birthright.
Sacred geometry also offers a map for the deepest psychological and spiritual transformation: alchemy. Certain teachings unite the ancient wisdom of alchemy with quantum physics, presenting a 7-stage process for conscious manifestation. Alchemy is a metaphor for the process of soul transformation. Lead is the base, egocentric consciousness, while gold is the enlightened consciousness. The alchemist's path unfolds in 7 universal stages. First, calcination, a fire that breaks down the old structures of the ego. This is followed by dissolution, where the ashes of the old self are immersed in the water of consciousness to release traumas. Then separation, an act of discernment to separate the essence from the dross. In conjunction, the purified elements are recombined into a new balanced whole. Fermentation represents the dark night of the soul, the death of the old self, so that the new spiritual being can be born. Distillation further purifies this new essence, raising its vibration. And finally, coagulation, where the spirit is fully embodied, turning the individual into the philosopher's stone. It is taught that sacred geometry is a key tool in this process.
Metatron's cube is known as the cube of creation. As it contains the 5 Platonic solids, it contains the complete blueprint for manifestation. By working with this geometric form in meditation, an individual can align their personal will with the divine will, structure their intention energetically, and access the infinite creativity of the source. Alchemy provides the psychological map, while sacred geometry provides the energetic tools to navigate that map. Throughout this journey, a tapestry of knowledge has been woven from visionary teachings, revealing a vision of reality that is both ancient and radically new. Sacred geometry emerges not as a topic of esoteric interest, but as the fundamental science of existence, the operating system of the cosmos.
The synthesis of these diverse perspectives converges on a powerful conclusion. The universe is a geometric, vibrational, and conscious construction. From the creation sequence of the flower of life to the cataclysmic cycles encoded in stone, from the holographic divine matrix to the Vedic plan embodied in our physiology, from the energetic harmonization of biogeometry to alchemical transformation, the message is unified and clear. We do not live in a universe of separate objects, but in a unified field of information and energy, structured by geometric patterns and animated by consciousness. The narratives of Lemuria and Atlantis serve as a crucial parable, illustrating the bifurcation between the use of sacred knowledge for spiritual harmony or for material control. Perhaps the most profound implication of this body of knowledge is the fundamental shift in our perception of ourselves. We can no longer see ourselves as passive observers in a predetermined universe. The evidence from quantum physics and the wisdom of ancient traditions compel us to accept our role as active participants and co-creators of reality. The universe is a mirror that reflects our beliefs and feelings. Our body is a microcosm that reflects the structure of the cosmos. Our consciousness is the force that collapses the waves of possibility into tangible reality. This understanding carries an immense responsibility. We can no longer attribute our circumstances solely to external forces. We must recognize the power of our internal state to shape our world. This narration has sought to provide the knowledge necessary for you to become an expert in sacred geometry. However, true mastery does not lie in intellectual understanding, but in lived embodiment. The path forward is not one of accumulating more information, but of dedicated practice. The detailed techniques, environmental harmonization, activation of the light body, and navigating internal transformation through alchemy are the practical tools for living this master plan. They are the means by which we can move from theory to direct experience. By integrating this sacred knowledge and applying these practices, each individual has the potential to heal themselves, harmonize their environment, and contribute to the collective healing and awakening of the planet. Sacred geometry is ultimately the path back to unity, a reminder that we are the architects of our reality, and that the tools to build a world of beauty, harmony, and love reside in the sacred patterns that are encoded both in the stars and within our own souls. The age of the conscious creator has arrived. If this journey through the memory of the universe has resonated within you, if it has awakened a longing to know more, to experience more, I invite you to join our community of consciousness explorers by subscribing to this channel. Together, we can continue to unveil the mysteries that connect us to our cosmic heritage and our unlimited future. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this sacred journey. May the wisdom of sacred geometry reveal to you the magnificence of your own soul, the beauty of your divine plan, and the infinite power that resides within you. Never forget, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. The book of life is not something you read. It is something you write with every breath, with every choice, with every beat of your heart. Write a magnificent story. May the unfathomable peace that surpasses all understanding, may the profound wisdom that guides your every step, and may the unconditional love that embraces all and heals all of the eternal ages illuminate and abundantly bless your path now and forever. May it be so.
If you liked this content, hit the like button, share it with someone who might be interested in this topic, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos.